United asked Suzanne and Cassandra to speak because of their depth of experience helping people, whether they're new and entering the workforce or already established. And I can personally attest to their ability to support anyone planning to pivot in their career because Cassandra was crucial in me being able to pivot into my new role. Thank you for that. Both Suzanne and Cassandra are also very committed to helping other women rise. And given how deeply we believe in women changing the world, we knew that when we were talking about LinkedIn, that we had to have them here to lead today's program. As many of you know, United Way Suncoast focuses on uplifting the lives of our local community. And right now, even for those of us that are healthy, we're all experiencing challenges associated with COVID, really trying to figure out how to remain connected as well as balanced in this new world. One of the things that we're going to be focused on is forcing us to really step out of our comfort zones and communicate differently. Some of our guests today may be working but are striving to stand out in this digital world. Others may be in a time of transition, but please know that you are not alone. Please use today to dive in deep with Cassandra and Suzanne, as well as our Women United Advisory Council leaders, to continue to support you in your journey wherever you may be. We are accessible and we are here for you. Will the women of Women United please raise their hands so that people can know exactly who you are? We're proud members and hoping to have more. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Cassandra and Suzanne.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for that. That was really beautiful, thank you. And I am so happy to be here. So thank you for giving me the opportunity on behalf of Cassandra and myself to come and speak about LinkedIn and get to know you more. This is really exciting for us both. We love being in the community, we love giving back. And it just so happens that during COVID, LinkedIn has been one of our presentations that we're asked about the most. So I would love to start today just learning a little bit about you. So if you could, as Amanda just wrote in the chat, if you can open up the chat box and go ahead and list your name, where you work, how long you've been using LinkedIn. Go ahead and fill that out as well. And what would be great is if anybody knows their URL in LinkedIn, your personal URL that gets you to your LinkedIn page, go ahead and drop that in the chat as well. And I'll go ahead and start with the format. One of the keys when you are out virtual networking is you always want to make sure you have your LinkedIn URL available because it allows people to connect with you and you can keep the conversation going. And today we're going to talk about how to maximize our networking in virtual environments, right? And LinkedIn is key to that. So having your LinkedIn URL ready to go is just one key tip that we will start talking about. So as you guys go ahead and drop all that in, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started with our presentation today. So my goal, there we go. Can you all see my screen? Can I just get a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. And so today's goal is to really learn and grow together on how to maximize LinkedIn for this whole virtual world that we're living in, right? A lot of us went from face-to-face networking events to virtual networking events literally overnight. And the great thing about virtual networking events is that you really can stand out and you can shine, and we can still continue to grow our connections and build what I like to call a trusted network, right? For me, there's a difference between having a network, which is a bunch of people that may just be connected to me, and actually having people that trust me, that if I ask, Cassandra, hey, can you refer me somewhere? She'll say yes because she trusts me, right? So let's get started. On LinkedIn, it's really important to note that your profile strength is your key to success on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's a professional one, but it's still a social media platform, right? There's 660 million users on LinkedIn currently. And so if you have an all-star profile, LinkedIn is going to serve up your profile more in search results than it will someone who doesn't have an all-star profile. And so that everybody understands, LinkedIn categorizes profiles by basic, intermediate, advanced, and then you have expert and all-star. All-star means that you have the most complete profile possible. You have at least 2 former employments. You have at least 5 skills. You have at least 50 connections. And you want to have some other things put in there as well, like your profile picture. It doesn't take a whole lot to get to All-Star, but it is key because users who have All-Star profiles are served up 40 times more likely than those who don't. So is there anyone here that doesn't have an All-Star profile? If you don't want to say, that's okay. But if you don't have an All-Star profile and you're not sure how to get one, then please reach out to either Cassandra or myself because we would love to help you get that all-star profile, okay? So let's talk about on LinkedIn, what is your first impression, right? When you get onto LinkedIn and people are around searching, your first impression is your profile picture, right? If we're in a face-to-face world, when I walk into an event, the way I'm dressed, my hair, my makeup is going to be my first impression, right? Am I smiling? Am I walking into a room and I'm on my phone and I look distracted? Or do I look like I want to be part of the group, right? And we emulate that same first impression on LinkedIn with our profile picture. And right here on the screen, I have some profile pictures that are some don'ts. I think we can learn a lot by what we don't want to do, and then we're going to cover some of the things that you do want to do. So LinkedIn themselves gives us 10 tips to having the perfect profile image. We don't even need to guess as LinkedIn users. They have told us what we need to do. But some of the pictures that I've pulled up are things that we just want to talk about because they're common mistakes that people will make on LinkedIn, not realizing, okay? So on the top left, we have a gorgeous avatar. Avatars are more of your cartoon type drawings. I have an avatar. You'll see my avatar on my Twitter account, on my techie type profiles, but you will not see my avatar on my LinkedIn. Why? Because if it's not an actual picture of you, it is considered like you are hiding, like you don't want people to know the authentic you. So although the avatar is gorgeous on LinkedIn, it is actually considered not appropriate for a professional social media platform. On the top right, we have a picture of what, does anybody know what that picture is? On the top right, there's like a red, it looks like blow up, one of those air blow up dolls that you see that move around. Does anybody know what that is? Drop it in the chat if you know what that is. Yeah, so nobody's putting anything in the chat, and believe it or not, I never get any answers to that in the chat. So it was kind of a trick because most people don't know what that is. It's very hard to tell. You look at it and you're like, I'm not really sure. That is actually the ticker tape parade from when the Giants won the Super Bowl. It took me almost a year interacting with this professional profile to figure out what that was. And that was so long ago, most people don't even remember when the Giants won the Super Bowl. So that is something that it doesn't represent who you are, right? On the bottom left, we have your standard car selfie. We are all guilty, right? All of us take selfies sitting in the driver's seat of our car when we are at a stoplight. We're like, oh, my hair looks great today. Selfie time, right? But that is considered something you do not want to do for your LinkedIn profile picture. The other concern with this particular profile picture. Does this look like a happy person that you are, if you walked over to this person at a networking event, do they look like they're going to extend their hand to you and shake it with a nice firm handshake? He kind of looks like I may be bothering him, right? And we don't really want to give that impression for our professional social media profiles. In the middle, this is my absolute favorite. Can anybody in the chat tell me what's wrong with this profile picture? He's got a great smile. He's got a gorgeous background. We are blessed in Tampa Bay to have amazing water all around us, right? Does anybody know the concern with this profile picture? Drop it in the chat. You can shout it out, whatever you're comfortable with. I really want this to be an interactive presentation. I love, yes, somebody is cut out. That is right. Yes, I'm actually going to turn on my annotate and hope it will work. But right here, you can see they photoshopped somebody out of the picture. LinkedIn is not the place to cut your ex out. I promise you, you have a great picture of just you. But this profile picture really leads to so many questions. And that's why you don't want to have a picture with somebody cut out. Because as I'm looking at this, it's my first impression to a connection with this person. The only thing I could think of is, I wonder who got cut out. Right? Just leads to too many questions. And our awesome rainbow unicorn, if anybody is in the recruiting industry or is in the job search, we know a rainbow unicorn, right? What every employer is looking for, but nobody can ever be. This is a super fun profile picture. And this could be appropriate depending on what you do and where you work. But I will say, if you are job searching, you definitely don't want to have a picture like this, right? Again, it's distracting and leads to too many questions. So these are all profile pictures of what we shouldn't do. So now let's talk about what we should do. Oops. So LinkedIn gives us the 10 perfect tips. As I said before, it's not even a secret. It's out there, public knowledge. One, pick an image that looks like you. If your best picture is you from 20 years ago and maybe you've aged a little or put on a little bit of weight, you really don't want to use that picture. Why? Because in a virtual world, we have to establish trust. Remember, we talked about having a trusted network, right? And if I have a picture that doesn't really look like me, and let's say I jump on a Zoom with Kiana and she goes, "Oh, you look different than you did on your," it's just that one little split second of, is that really Suzanne? So pick a profile picture that looks like you. Use a high-res image. You don't want it to be pixelated or look like it has boxes, right? Your face should take up 60% of the circle. So that's really important. We talked about being the only person, no selfie cams. We are so fortunate right now with the cameras that are on our phones. iPhones have what's called the portrait view. If you know anybody with an iPhone, have them snap a picture of you with portrait view. They come out stunning. I don't know how they did that, but that was some awesome tech. Make sure you choose the right expression. And what should you wear? That is a question I get all the time when people are asking me about their LinkedIn. What should I wear? The answer is you should wear whatever you would wear to work. If you work in a startup, then a graphic tee and Chuck Taylors, that's perfectly fine. But if you work in a business professional environment, well, then you're going to want to put on some type of suit, pantsuit, whatever it may be. You want your profile picture to reflect who you are as a professional, right? I don't know if anybody saw the Dolly Parton post that was put out, but the 4 different pictures that you have on each of your social medias, I love that. You really want to have a professional picture. So, and you don't want your picture to have filters. You want to use a natural color photo. The reason why is because LinkedIn works with a search algorithm, right? So when I do a search, it serves up results very similar to the way Google serves up results when you go and you Google, restaurants near me or whatever it is that you're looking for. And in that search results, if your picture is black and white, or if you have a one of those fancy Instagram filters on it, your picture isn't going to show as vibrant as the others, and our eyes are instantly drawn to the color of the photos. So please don't use any filters, or at least use them wisely. So let's look at some awesome, what I found to be some really nice profile pictures. So Jamie has a great profile picture. Now she is breaking the face should take up 60%, but why I wanted to show Jamie's profile picture is because you want your profile picture to be either facing the content, which is your face facing to the right, or you want your face to be dead on. And this is a graphic design tip. And the reason why is Jamie's body is facing the content, so my eyes stay on the page. If Jamie's body was facing away from the content, then my natural reaction would be to go back and go to somebody else's profile. So it's a graphic design tip to have your body or your face facing towards the graph, towards the content. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? Perfect. Okay. Orlando Haynes, love Orlando Haynes, great career coach, always out talking in Tampa Bay, staring right at you. He's approachable, he's got a great smile, he's friendly, his body is relaxed, he's very approachable, right? Tala, also, you can see Tala has done a great job with having her photo take up about 60%. Her face takes up about 60-ish% of the circle. And you can see that Tala, her body is also facing towards the content. So again, gorgeous contrast with a red background. Picture really pops. If Tala's profile gets served up in search results, she's going to stand out, right? And so when it comes to your profile picture, you really want to use square pictures, and you want them to be approximately 400 by 400. Now, LinkedIn does allow you to do some cropping, and I can show you, we'll go live on LinkedIn and I can show you where we edit our profile pictures and all of that. But I would love to get through, you know, what are the profile pictures and why do we need them? So if your profile picture is your first impression on LinkedIn, your second impression is going to be your headline. And your headline is right underneath your name, right here, okay? So this is our headline in LinkedIn. And your headline is really important because it's going to tell people, who are you? Why do I want to connect with you, right? And you generally have 1 to 3 lines. It's about 200 characters, including space. Now, 200 characters, they've just recently expanded the headline. It used to be 120. So if you Google anything about LinkedIn headlines, you'll probably find 120. I have tested mine and I can get to about 239 spaces or characters with spaces on my LinkedIn headline, but it generally comes out to about 1 to 3 lines. It's about 3 lines complete. You want your headline to have your job title in it and keywords that are related to your job title. Why? Because LinkedIn uses your headline as a heavily weighted search filter. Why? Because LinkedIn is assuming if you're going to put that you're a marketing professional in your headline, which is an incredibly important part of your profile, then you really must be a marketing professional, right? So a great tip, if you want to come up in more searches and you want to grow your network, is to go ahead and add your job title and then add some keywords that support your job title. Now, if you are job searching, you really want to make sure you add keywords in. But if you're in career success mode or career branding mode, then add in some of the nonprofit things that you work with or what makes you unique. Okay, what's your unique selling proposition? You can use emojis or you can use vertical bars. However you want to separate your headline is perfectly fine. I caution people, use emojis if it's appropriate. Now, if we go back to Orlando, you'll see Orlando has emojis in his headline, and that's okay. It works for him, okay? But both Tala and our first example are using just their job titles. You can see here though the vertical bars in the examples, and you can also see that someone has used just the black diamonds, which is an emoji or a bullet that you can copy and paste into your headline. Now, it is important when you're writing your headline to start off powerful. And the reason why is, in this example of Catherine, we are looking at a mobile example of somebody being pulled up. And you can see at the end of diversity and inclusion, you have a ... A lot of individuals are using LinkedIn on their mobile devices, and your headline will get cut at about, I think it's no more than 55 characters. Your headline will get cut. So make sure you start off strong in your headline. And you're going to hear me say this again when we talk about your about, okay? Because of mobile and because things get cut off, make sure your most important words are first. So you can see here in the example that we have Catherine, her profile picture taking up about 60% of her circle. You can really see who she is. It's colorful. She's smiling, approachable. And then you can see her headline tells us exactly what she does. She's in talent acquisition. She's a problem solver. She's sourcing strategies, diversity and inclusion. It really tells me a lot about her, right? Before I even engaged with her, I feel like I kind of understand Catherine, right? And we can do that with our profile pictures and our headlines. So our third impression on LinkedIn is our background or our header graphics. And our background or our header graphics are what we see that's behind our profile picture, right? And you want your header graphic should be 1584 by 396. That's the amount of space you have, and that's in pixels. And so I'll say that again, it's 1584 by 396 pixels. You can zoom up and down in LinkedIn, and I'll talk to you about how to make the graphics in just a minute, but it's really important that we know you want your header graphic to be something that tells your story. They always say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So use your picture to tell your story. The truth is, on average, people only read 20% of what's on a screen. That means on average, people are just scanning, right? Your picture is your opportunity to stand out. You really want it to tell your story. Now, you can do a Google search for royalty-free images. That maybe you're a project manager, right? You can do a Google search and you can set it up for royalty-free images, project management royalty-free images, and you can then get those images and you can use them. Or there's a program called Canva. If you're more creative and you want to play around, Canva is a great tool that has a free version, and you can make an awesome header graphic for your LinkedIn, right? So you'll see this called your banner, your background image. It's called a lot of things, but the most important thing is that it tells your story. I will see a lot of individuals who will use something like a landscape that doesn't say anything, or they'll use the skyline of Tampa Bay. Well, that's a beautiful skyline, and I think everyone agrees that we have some beautiful buildings in downtown Tampa, right? But we don't want that to be our story, unless I was maybe the mayor, or if I was, you know, maybe an architect who designed the Sykes building, maybe then it would be my story. But remember, landscaping, pictures of the beach, not really your story. So here's some header graphics that I thought were really great. Jamie is the CHRO at Lordstown. It's a car company. I didn't even know that Lordstown was a car company when I came across her profile. But when you come to Jamie's professional social media page, it screams exactly what she does, right? She's also color coordinated the pictures really well. Like, she's wearing black, she's got kind of an off-white background, and then the picture of the car is in black as well. I'm gonna have to do some research. Does anybody know Lordstown? Is it just me? I didn't know what it was, but I thought the picture was so pretty. All right. But we'll learn about Lordstown together then. All right, so here we have Katie B's. Katie B is the HR leader at BoxyCharm. And I think for a professional page, for someone who's in HR, this picture is definitely given us 1,000 words, right? You have the vibrant black and white background with the pink. It's got the company name on it. The people all look happy. Does anyone not want to work at BoxyCharm? They look like they are a bunch of fun, loving colleagues, right? They look like on day one, I'm going to have a t-shirt on my desk. I'm going to have hugs and high fives as I'm going through the office. This picture really does tell Katie's story. She's an HR leader at BoxyCharm, right? And then, Cassandra dropped in the chat the actual size. So just remember that. You want it to be 1584 by 396 because that's the question we get asked all the time. And you do have some wiggle room to zoom in or out. So if you can't get it perfect, there is some wiggle room there. All right, so we talked about our first, second, and our third impressions on LinkedIn. Now we're going to go into some other important aspects of really maximizing your ability to network on LinkedIn. So your about section is your story. Your about section tells me who you are. Now, LinkedIn is not your resume. That's the biggest mistake I see people make. Whether it's in a job search or if you're in career branding mode, it's fine. But LinkedIn is who you are as a professional, right? So you want to make sure your about section is written in first person, not third. Your resume is written in third person. Your LinkedIn is I do this, right? You don't want it to be Suzanne is a fill in the blank, right? So you have in your about section 2,000 characters. You want to start off strong again, because in desktop, it shows the first 3 lines and then you're going to get a see more button. And in the mobile, it only shows 25 to 30 characters and then you get to see more. So start off with something that's powerful, something that captures me. There's a technique in ad copy, right? If you're writing for advertising, it's called the slippery slope writing style. And the way it works is you want your first sentence to be so engaging and compelling that you read the second sentence. And then you read the third sentence. And then you read the fourth sentence, right? And it's this whole ad copy. Before you know it, you've spent 10 minutes reading an article or 10 minutes reading an advertisement or something. And at the end, you're like, wow, that was really engaging. You want your about section to be the same type of emotion, right? Definitely make it keyword rich. Don't use jargon. Talk to me like you're going to talk to me like we're having a drink, right? You really want to build relationships. So don't use jargon. Don't try to overpower me with like how smart you are. Talk to me like we're friends, right? Really tell me what's your story. Now, I love to do a skills list in the about section. I love to do a skills list because the about section has keyword capabilities where it comes up in search. So also remember, we talked about people scan, right? They don't read. They scan about 20% is what they're actually taking in from a page. So if you have a skills list, it also tells me like, oh, you know what, Kimberly, you use Adobe Photoshop. I do too. You know what? Well, we have that in common. And the more I see that we have in common, the more likely I am to send you a connection request, right? I always like to have a call to action in the about sections. Tell me what to do. Hey, follow me on Twitter. Send me a LinkedIn connection. Here's my email. Whatever it is that you want your LinkedIn to provide, give people a call to action. If you did get them all the way to the bottom of your 2,000 characters in your about section, tell them how to keep the conversation going, right? And so here we have a about section that shows I enjoy networking, connect with me, right? Right off the bat. Okay, well, this person seems fun, right? about diversity, inclusion, recruiting. They have an entrepreneurial spirit. You can see where you get the see more. This is a sample from desktop. So I just wanted to point out that you can see it's written in first person. It's pulling me in. It's keyword rich. Great about starting. And then here's a kind of all-in-one picture of some great things that you want your profile to look like, right? So you have a professional profile picture. The person is looking forward. They have a header graphic that tells their story. Mr. Justin is a marketer, right? He's got a good headline that has his job title. He's also an Olympian, so it tells his story a little, right? So it doesn't all have to be just about your profession, but I'm pretty sure Olympian is probably part of his professional brand. And then you can see his about. He's incorporated keywords. He starts with, I combine my passion. And so he's telling his story. So just kind of an all-in-one snapshot of what a great starting point to maximizing your LinkedIn really looks like. Does anybody have any questions on anything that we've discussed so far? So Amanda asked, should we use our LinkedIn profile picture as our Zoom photo too when we aren't on camera? I think that's a great idea. I took my profile picture and I put the logo of Computer Coach across the bottom of it. I actually did it this past weekend to update my Zoom so that when I'm not on camera, people will know that who I am, my picture is there, but they'll also know where I work. So if you have some graphic skills, it may be a good idea just to add that in as well. I noticed that when I was on Zooms and I'm looking through and people aren't on camera, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, you know, where does Carrie work? Or what does Carrie do? So just a tip that I found for Zoom. LinkedIn provided a suggested about section for me, which was nice. Is that okay to use even though it isn't in the first person? I would edit that so that it's in the first person. If they provided a suggested about, that's great, but I would tweak it so that it is in the first person. If it's not in the first person on LinkedIn, it's going to seem very standoffish, like very formal in the third person, and people may be hesitant or turned off. Remember, social media is tricky, right? I want to engage with you. I want to bring you in, but I also want to be safe, of course, because it is on the internet and we need to have our boundaries. So I would just tweak it so it's in first person, in my professional opinion. All right, so moving on to other aspects of LinkedIn. LinkedIn has this great feature called feature media, okay? And your featured media is right under your about section, and you have the ability to really showcase who you are, what makes you special. One of the things I really like about the featured media is that it allows you to put color right smack in the middle of your LinkedIn profile so people see it and they're like, wow. So this is Sandra Morrison. Sandra used to be the public relations specialist over at the Florida Aquarium. And I really liked her featured section because when you look at it, you go, wow, what does Sandra do? And again, right, people are only going to read 20% of what's on a page. So even if they don't read anything about what Sandra does, they're going to get to her featured pictures and be like, oh, wait a minute, let me go back up and see what she does. And so your featured media is the ability to highlight things that you have done that you want to call attention to. Now, your featured media here underneath your about section should be who you are as a professional overall. You have the ability in the experience section to include featured media specific to those positions, and I'll show you that on my LinkedIn in just a bit. So this is about who you are in general. Things you can feature. You can feature posts. So maybe you have a presentation coming up and you make a post about it in LinkedIn, and then you want to feature that on your profile until the presentation actually occurs. You can feature PowerPoint presentations. You can feature graphics. You can feature videos. You can upload videos to your YouTube channel. You can make them unlisted so that you can only see them if you get to them through your LinkedIn, and I'll show you that in just a bit as well. So there's a few different things that you can feature. But the important part is find things that set you apart. What's your wow, right? And then we can upload that into LinkedIn and allow it to really showcase who you are as a professional. So featured media came out not too long ago, and actually a great new feature that they have. Your experience section. So I took a copy of my experience section for the presentation so that you can see. You can do your experience section in paragraphs. You can do it in bullets. You can do it with emojis. I like to write mine in Word and then copy and paste it into LinkedIn. You can't get emojis or any type of like bullets or whatever into your experience section unless you copy and paste it. Okay, so that's just a tip. LinkedIn by default, if you're just going to type in LinkedIn, it doesn't have bullets. Okay, so these emojis, I added them in a Word document and then I copied and pasted. You can see what I've done in my experience section for Computer Coach is I've used white space as my friend. All of my text isn't on top of each other, so it's very easy to read. You're not getting stuck in reading, you know, the same line over and over because everything is so jumbled together. You can see that I've added Computer Coach's website there, right? I'm telling my story. This is my experience section here. And then underneath, you can see I have featured media that is specific to my time at Computer Coach. So at Computer Coach, myself and our team, we were awarded a COVID-19 Heroes of Tampa Bay Award. I'm incredibly honored on behalf of myself and my team, and that was something that we wanted to feature, right? We have a video clip that is the next one. And then I have some graphics that were created that would be applicable to what I do at Computer Coach. So you can add emojis, you can use bullets or dashes if you want to start your lines. I use a combination just because I know that people are going to scan when they're going through my experience section. Some other things you want to do in LinkedIn. Now, if you're looking to stand out and come up in searches, okay, if you want to have people coming to you instead of you going out looking for people, your skills section is one of the most underutilized sections in LinkedIn. And I say that because what happens is most people, when they're setting up their LinkedIn profile, regardless of whenever you decided to jump on LinkedIn, they set their skills section and they forget it because they think, my skills, no one cares. But it's actually, if you're job searching, one of the most heavily weighted areas in LinkedIn. And it's directly connected to LinkedIn's recruiter platform that they have. LinkedIn has 3 revenue streams. Their largest revenue stream is from corporate recruiters and corporations paying them to allow their talent acquisition folks to have access to the 660 million individuals that have profiles on LinkedIn, right? And so the skills section is something you really want to keep up to date. Go and look at what it is, what your career is, what is your job title, and then look at your skills and make sure that you're using up-to-date skills. Maybe you just learned about virtual presentations or virtual conferences or something like that, and make sure that you're updating your skills section because the skills section is one of the areas on your profile that LinkedIn pulls your keywords from for searchability. So you'll come up in more searches, you'll get more connection requests, and you'll be able to grow your network with individuals finding you instead of you always having to be out looking. Recommendations. Now, recommendations, I get asked all the time. Should I ask for recommendations? And the answer is yes, please do. I coach all my customers on engage in a recommendation strategy, right? Ask people all the time for recommendations. If you ask for 5, maybe you'll get 1, which means we need to be asking for 20, right? Anytime you're on a project, ask whomever it is, hey, would you mind writing me a LinkedIn recommendation? It can be like one little write-up. It can be a big write-up. I'm going to ask Amanda for one when we're done, right? Whatever you do, ask for recommendations, because if you do find yourself in a situation where people are trying to figure out, you know, hey, who is this person? You know, let's see, let's grow more about them. If you have 15 recommendations or 1 recommendation, it's going to make a difference, right? I'm going to be like, 15 people recommend this person. Let me have a chat with them. They must be nice, right? So keep asking. Don't stop. The great thing about recommendations on LinkedIn is historically, as employees, we are conditioned that only our boss can give us a recommendation, right? Only somebody who's technically above us in the org chart should be giving us a recommendation. LinkedIn has absolutely eliminated that from the workforce acceptable policies. LinkedIn allows you to ask for recommendations from colleagues that are at the same level as you, people that you've actually supervised, people that have supervised you, people that you've worked on projects with, customers that you interact with. You can ask for recommendations from all over because everyone involved in your career is going to give a different perspective and recommend you on different techniques and things that make you unique and make you a unique contributor to the workforce. So please do ask for recommendations. One of the most underutilized features, I feel like, in LinkedIn, you can really shine because people always read them. People stop and they're like, oh, how many recommendations do they have? It's really bizarre, but people do it, I promise you. All right, joining groups. Groups allow you on LinkedIn to have conversations with like-minded professionals. And joining groups is a great way to find other individuals that you have common interests with. And LinkedIn, if you are job searching, LinkedIn allows their talent acquisition individuals who have access to LinkedIn Recruiter, they can search within groups. So if you are ever job searching, groups is a great tip that people don't really realize. And so you understand that if I am a talent acquisition professional looking for a project manager, I can go into LinkedIn Recruiter and search for someone who has a PMP that is within the PMI group. And so groups are a great way on LinkedIn to really stand out. You can learn a lot about whatever you're interested in, right? Whatever the groups are. You can share information and you can really start to stand out and build your network within like-minded professionals. So groups. And if you don't find any groups that are suited for what you're looking for, which I don't think is going to happen, but you can always start your own group as well, which is a great tip, a great way to stand out. Start your own group and start contributing. Getting a personalized URL. So we asked everybody to drop in your URL into the chat earlier, right? And you notice my LinkedIn URL is linkedin.com/in, which everyone's going to have, Suzanne Ricci. My Twitter handle is @Suzanne Ricci. My Facebook is Suzanne Ricci. My website is suzannericci.com, right? So you can really engage in some great personal branding by customizing your URL. By default, you'll see my great friend Joel Morales here. He has Joel-Morales-1ABB67. Those numbers at the end are a little bit too much, right? Customize your URL so that you can start engaging in your career brand. It doesn't have to be just your name, although that is my choice, but there's an individual who does a lot of networking out there. He uses John Short, USMC vet, right? He's a Marine. So you can customize your URL so it makes sense for you, but do please customize your URL because having the default with the numbers at the end, it's kind of a tell that you're a newbie to LinkedIn. All right, so where do you edit your public URL? So when you're in your profile page, you'll notice on the top right, there is a button that says edit public profile and URL. And we'll do this live if anybody is interested. And then you click on that button, and then on the top right, again, you'll see it says edit your custom URL. You click on that little pencil and it will allow you to find a custom URL that's right for you. Some other really great things built into LinkedIn is the active status signals. And active status signals tell us who and how individuals are using LinkedIn, okay? So one of the things that LinkedIn looks at is how likely are you to respond. So when it's serving up your profile into search results, LinkedIn, again, is a social media platform, it's going to serve up individuals who use and like LinkedIn. LinkedIn likes profiles that like LinkedIn, right? And so what is one of the features that they use to see, are you likely to respond? And that's called an active status signal. So when you see a profile picture, like mine, you'll see my profile picture and notice there's a green circle on it. That tells you, I am active on LinkedIn on my desktop right now. So if you send me a message, let me turn on my annotate so I can show you. So if you send me a message right here, it's going to send me a pop-up on my LinkedIn right here. So you know I am on my desktop. I have LinkedIn engaged. I've said, yes, I want to get pop-ups. It's like old school AOL chat, right? It just literally pops up. I've totally told you my age at this point. Okay. The other active status signal is a green circle on the profile with a white inner circle, okay? What that tells me is that you have enabled push signals on your mobile. So every time if I send you a message, it's gonna pop up on your phone, okay? So you can see Cassandra and her gorgeous kids here. So Cassandra had her mobile notifications enabled. She had a green and white dot on her profile picture. I messaged her. She took a screenshot of it so that we could all see and grow on what happens. Now, I know that Cassandra has gotten a push notification for my message. Now, if she reads it or not, that's a different story. But I do have an indicator that Cassandra is more likely to engage with me on LinkedIn, right? So just some things I look at to see if people are gonna respond. Look at those cute little kids, right? All right. Most importantly, and my most favorite topic on LinkedIn is if you really want to stand out, if you want to shine on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you are exciting and that you are active. Again, LinkedIn loves users who use LinkedIn. So if you want to shine in your job search or in your career, then utilizing LinkedIn and being exciting and active is the most important aspect of LinkedIn. You can have a really terrible profile, to be honest with you, but please don't, because we've just gone over how to have a fabulous one. So please don't have a terrible one. But if you use LinkedIn, you're still likely to shine. Now, LinkedIn has 660 million users. Of those 660 million, only 6 million post content on LinkedIn. So that is a very small portion, which means most people who are using LinkedIn are reading other people's content, which tells us that we, as individuals who are looking for career success and to brand ourselves, have an opportunity to stand out and shine by posting content. So I get asked all the time, great, you want me to post content, Suzanne, what do I do? So I came up with a formula, and this formula isn't gonna take you more than 20 minutes twice a day. And I do use an automation tool, which I'll talk to you about in just a minute if anybody's interested in that. But here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna post content 2 times a day. So what are you gonna post? You wanna post custom content that you've created. You wanna post news articles about your industry or your job title or something you're passionate about. You can post motivational pictures that engage in hashtags of the day. There's hashtag Motivational Monday, Tech Tuesday, Wins Wednesday. There's Funny Friday. Some of my most engaged posts are my Funny Fridays, funny enough. But when you post content in LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to come up in the newsfeed of all of your connections. And I say opportunity because there's an algorithm, okay? So what happens? I post something on my LinkedIn in the morning. My 8,500 connections, I have an opportunity for them to see what I've posted. And what are they gonna do? They're gonna say, I wonder what Suzanne's up to today. And then they can engage with my post. The more people who engage with my post, whether through a comment, a like, a love, a share, a support, or whatever it is, then the more news feeds I have the ability to come up in. So by adding content to LinkedIn, you can, one, showcase who are you as a professional? What makes you unique? What is your wow? And then it also gives you the ability to have eyeballs on your profile, right? So let's say I post this great custom content on LinkedIn. Cassandra thinks it's fabulous. She celebrates it, right, as an engagement. Now my post has the opportunity to come up in the news feeds of those that Cassandra is connected to. And so now those that I am not connected to, but Cassandra is, can see my post and say, wow, who's that Suzanne? They can click on my profile. They can see how great my profile is, right? My header graphic is telling them my story. My about is telling them my story. My profile picture is shining and engaging and I look friendly. And they're like, hey, you know what? I want to connect with Suzanne. I want to learn more about what Suzanne's doing. And they send me a connection request, all because I've posted content. So if you are a rock star in customer service, or we'll use customer service. If you're a rock star in customer service and you're watching a movie this weekend, then grab a clip that illustrates customer service at its best and throw it on your LinkedIn. YouTube has every clip imaginable. I was doing an interview with a talent acquisition manager from a local company, and she brought up a Friends episode, the Friends episode of Unagi. Does anybody remember that episode? You can just write it in the chat if you do. So she brings up Unagi in the podcast, right? And I was able to find that exact clip on YouTube and post it on my LinkedIn with a link to my podcast, which then everybody, thank you, Cassandra. So then everybody could see, or they had an idea of something that could have been in the podcast, right? And it was a great reference to the job search process and the Friends episode that included Unagi, which is a super funny episode if you haven't seen it. So if you do PowerPoint presentations, you can put them up on LinkedIn. You can also share posts from other colleagues, but you don't just want to share, you want to share and add content. The goal on LinkedIn is to be active, be exciting, but start engaging. You want to start a conversation with people because that's how you're gonna shine, right? So 2 times a day, all I ask that you post. I do post more than 2 times a day, but to start off, you can get away with posting 2 times a day. I am gonna be watching. Okay, so then I get asked all the time, well, where do you find content, Suzanne? You post so much, where do you find content? I sign up for newsletters. I know, it sounds crazy. I'm one of those people. I sign up for newsletters, and when I'm having my coffee in the morning, I scroll through my inbox and I read my newsletters. I get the CNN 5 things you should know about from yesterday that happened while you were sleeping. I get things from the Times. I get from Daily Skim, from SHRM. I coach people, right, in their job search for a living. I should know what's going on in the HR industry. The great thing is all associations will let you sign up for their newsletters for free. Why? Because they want you on their list. And then they send you this great content that you can share. I consider myself, for my LinkedIn network, a curator of content, right? If you are in my network, you'll quickly realize that I am passionate about career success, mine and others, helping others, right? I am passionate about Tampa Bay, and I'm passionate about technology. So all of my posts on LinkedIn generally deal with those 3 topics, and I get content sent to me daily. The Tampa Bay Business Journal, please sign up for their daily alerts. They send the best newsletters twice a day. They will tell you what's happening in Tampa Bay in the morning, in the afternoon. You know what companies are coming, what companies are leaving. You know who's hiring. You know everything. You know, there's just so much information in those newsletters. So please sign up. Sign up for newsletters. Sign up for newsletters in your industry, and then you can share the content, right? I also use a service called drumup.io. I use the free version. So the way DrumUp works is you can follow hashtags. You can follow 1 hashtag for free on DrumUp. And what happens is every day DrumUp goes out into the internet, it scrapes the World Wide Web and finds content that's using hashtag information technology, because that's the hashtag I follow. I follow information technology because it's very large, right? It's a lot of things could be hashtagged information technology. And then I get this email once a day, and I go through and I see if I like any of it. I read articles. Sometimes I share them, sometimes I don't, but I do learn and I grow every single day from that free resource. Some posting best practices. Your post should always include at least 1 line of descriptive copy. Don't just put something out there, right? Like, don't just share the Unagi episode of Friends from YouTube. Write something about it, because that's what's going to make it engaging and compelling. Have a call to action. What do you want people to do? Comment below, send me a message, like my post. Give them something to do with your post, right? Hashtags. Hashtags on LinkedIn are really awesome. They are working now really well. Years ago, they didn't. So if anybody's been a longtime LinkedIn user, you may know hashtags have come and gone. However, they are back and they're working really well. You want to use hashtags because hashtags allow you the opportunity to come up in the newsfeed of your connections, because I made a post, right? And then people follow hashtags on LinkedIn. So let's say I hashtag information technology. I make a post and I hashtag it information technology. I now have the opportunity to come up in the newsfeed of my connections. I have the opportunity to come up in the newsfeed of anyone who's following information technology hashtag. And I have the opportunity to come up in the newsfeeds of anyone who engages with my post. So hashtags are really important. You want to use no more than 5 hashtags. This is not IG, right? So 5 hashtags is good. Anything more than 5 hashtags is considered spammy on LinkedIn. You can use them in your copy or all on the bottom of your copy, whatever you're comfortable with, but don't hashtag every word, okay? The other posting best practice is mentioning. So you can mention, and you use the @ to mention individuals or companies on LinkedIn. And the reason why you want to do that is it gives you the opportunity to come up in their news feeds as well. But you do want to mention individuals who are associated to the post. So don't just like start mentioning Oprah because she's totally awesome. It has to be related or you could get penalized. All right, so we talked about hashtags. Don't hashtag every word. I love that little skeleton there, especially now it's spooky Halloween time. And that is it for today. We're gonna go live on LinkedIn so I can show you some of the things. Here is our information. So you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You'll find us on LinkedIn. My email is right there. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. I love chatting. You may have figured that out by now. My LinkedIn is there. Cassandra and I do run the Tampa Bay Tech Career Advice Meetup. We also run the Career Success Academy Meetup. We also run LinkedIn Local Tampa Bay. LinkedIn Local Tampa Bay is a virtual well, right now it's virtual. It's usually in person, but it's a networking event that allows you to make face-to-face or human connections with your LinkedIn network. So Cassandra will drop the invite to LinkedIn Local Tampa Bay into the chat for everybody. Our events are free right now due to COVID, and they are all virtual. All right, with that, I'm gonna stop my share. I'm gonna take questions and go live on LinkedIn. Okay, so let's just do some questions real quick. So Jackie, I use LinkedIn every day and several times per day. I enjoy reading the articles, watching the short videos. It's a great distraction. Take a break from work. I agree with you, Jackie. I love going through LinkedIn. I'm not a huge fan of other types of social media. Like Facebook is not really my favorite, but I actually really enjoy getting to know the people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. So I'm glad I'm not alone. So Carrie asked, do you recommend that our profiles have public security? I recommend that you check out your security settings and that you do what you're comfortable with, right? Everybody on social has a different comfort level, and everybody on social has a different reason for being there, right? So are you trying to establish yourself as a thought leader in your area? You're going to have different public settings than you would if you are just looking to grow a trusted network of individuals that you connect with, right? Do you accept all requests to link? I do not, but I will accept yours. I do look at certain things when I am connecting with individuals. So what do I look at, right? I told you my 3 passion pillars, right? That's who I am as a brand and who I am as a person. So I look at, like, my first thing is, are they in Tampa Bay? Because I'm passionate about Tampa Bay. I'm always volunteering in Tampa Bay. in a face-to-face world. I still volunteer in a virtual world, which has made it a little different. But I, you know, so I look at, are they in Tampa Bay? I also, because I coach people for a living, right? For job success, for career success. I know that I can look at a profile and say, this person's only connecting with me and they're going to ask me for a job. So I look at that. There's just some things that I look at for my own personal, but can you please show us? Yep, I'm going to show you right now. How often do most people check LinkedIn? I think that's, you know, different. I don't know that there's a most people. I think that for myself, I check LinkedIn when I am, you know, standing in the grocery store line. I check LinkedIn if I'm waiting for my kids to come out of gymnastics. I just find time to really, you know, check LinkedIn. I think that if you're just starting off and you're not a power user on LinkedIn, which I am, right? My connections expect that I'm going to post content all the time. I think twice a day, you know, 20 minutes is really to start off. You shouldn't be spending more than 20 minutes, at least twice a day on LinkedIn. Okay, I don't know if there's any questions that are further up. So if they are, just please repost them if I didn't answer your question, because I do want to get to LinkedIn Live. Okay, so you guys, can I just see a thumbs up? Can you see my LinkedIn? You should see. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. And so we are in LinkedIn. So when you come, this is what you see, right? So this is my news feed right here in the middle. Joelle Pabin, awesome. She is my news story that has just come up. You can see on the left, this is my profile, the company pages that I manage. You can see my settings, things like that. So the easiest thing for me as far as editing my profile, I come to my profile page, whether you want to click on me up here, I always just click on the left on my name. And then you'll notice that there's these pencils. So pencils in LinkedIn are kind of key for you can edit. So if you want to edit your profile picture or anything like that, you can click on the pencil. This allows me to delete my photo. I told you you can kind of zoom in and out, right? Somewhat. So if you don't have the exact right size. So this pencil right here allows me to edit my header graphic. And then this pencil over here allows me to actually control my entire top portion. And this is where I'm going to edit my headline. So you see my profile picture is here. If I want to update my profile picture, which I'm hoping to do soon, then I can update my profile picture there. Oops, sorry, I clicked out too far. But here is your headline right here. And then you can add whatever you'd like about your headline. Your current position, you can choose. You can choose to show your education in your intro or not. Your industries are really important, especially if you're job searching. Make sure you have an industry, and then you can edit your public information. What do you want to be public about your LinkedIn profile? So I hope that answers your question on how to edit your profile. Then as you're coming down, your headline you asked about. And then as you come down, you can edit your about section. And then here's my featured media section. One of the things that you can do is you can make an intro video. I'm gonna actually just stop my share for a minute and share again because I didn't choose to share my sound. And I wanna show you guys. What a great things that you can do on LinkedIn is with a Zoom account for free. You can record like an intro video of who you are, and you can throw it up on YouTube for free. And you'll see in just a minute. I made a welcome video for myself and put it on my LinkedIn, which just gives that added personal touch on who you are.
I'm Suzanne Ricci, the Chief Success Officer at Computer Coach. For the last 20 years, I've helped thousands of IT professionals, project managers, business analysts, Scrum Masters, and other business professionals with customized.
So hopefully you guys are able to see that. I stopped my share. Sorry, I'm going back. But that is all from this video right here. And you can see how it really does make the page pop by having some graphics right here in the middle. I have my podcast the latest episode of my podcast is featured right there. This is my private dashboard. So I've come up in the last 90 days in 1,000, just under 1,100 people's search results. So that's how many people have viewed my profile. So by being active on LinkedIn, you can see that I get a lot of views on my profile. And then editing your experience section, you can rearrange your experience section by clicking on the hamburger stack, clicking and dragging. Then you have your education. I am a hurricane, just in case anybody's wondering. Then you have all your licenses and your certifications there, your experience, your volunteer experience is there, and then all your skills, and then your recommendations, accomplishments, and things you're interested in. Here's a tip on LinkedIn too that doesn't get talked a lot, but you can use your interest sections to really tell your story. Like, what are you interested in? I always, when I check out somebody's profile, go and see their interests to see like, who are they following? What are they interested in? Because you can tell a lot by somebody by their interests, who they're following, and the different groups that they're in. All right, I am going to stop my share and I'm going to take questions. And so if we need to go back, we can go back if we need to do a demonstration of anything. So does anybody have any questions on LinkedIn or how they're using LinkedIn? We do have at Computer Coach a LinkedIn checklist. So if you would like to get the checklist just to make sure you're doing everything the way you want to do, then reach out to Cassandra. She'll get that for you. And we also have a worksheet that we put together on 40 ideas of what you can post on LinkedIn. I know I told you should post on LinkedIn twice a day. And the next question I get from everyone is, I don't know what to post, right? When I talk to people, I'm like, what's holding you back from posting? They always say, I don't know what to post. So we created a list of 40 ideas to kind of just, get your creativity going on what you can post on LinkedIn. So reach out to Cassandra and she'll be happy to get you that worksheet that we have as well. No questions? All right. Well, with that, I guess, Amanda, I will turn it back over to you if there's no questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us today and for our training. We hope you enjoyed it and got to learn and meet some folks. My name is Amanda Jacobson. I'm the Women United manager here at United Way Suncoast. These programs and all of our Women United programs are organized by our advisory council, which really does a great job of connecting for different programs in the community. In addition, this event today was co-hosted by the Young Leaders Society. Our Young Leaders Society is our young professionals group with United Way Suncoast. And they focus on philanthropy and getting into volunteerism. I'll share a little bit in the chat as well, so you guys have some resources with us. But I definitely don't want to rush us with any questions as well. So if you guys continue to have questions for Suzanne, feel free to put them on here. I'm also going to put in our next event. So we have a couple of programs coming up, which are really exciting. Thank you, Sarah. We have our survey here. So if you have any feedback to share, our next program is called Good in the Neighborhood. It's going to focus on our different neighborhood resource centers, which help people who are needing support, getting into employment, and so many other things. We hope you can join us for that hour-long lunch and learn on October 30th. And then in December, we have a really exciting program on really how to evaluate your goals going into 2021. That's going to be hosted with EY. So very excited about that. Thais Rodriguez-Case and her team are working on that program. I'm looking forward to you guys joining us there. It looks like we have a few more questions in the chat, so I'm going to hand it back to Suzanne. But before we do that, are there any questions about Women United? Okay, I'll stay on the line after we finish up the questions with Suzanne, but I'm going to turn it back over to her to keep on going.
Sure. And so the true power of LinkedIn, right, is it's essentially a massively mega powerful Rolodex right on your fingertips, right? And that's one of the great things about what has been created on LinkedIn. It's turned into this really powerful tool for both job search and for career branding. And one of the questions is, can I share a story of someone transitioning or obtaining their new career from using LinkedIn? And absolutely. So as I started off saying, I career coach, right? At Computer Coach, we teach IT, business certification training classes. And with that, we career coach all of our customers. I end up career coaching individuals who aren't necessarily Computer Coach customers, but that is what we do. And recently someone came into my life and I wasn't really sure what this person did. I kind of thought like, maybe they don't need a job because they were showing up to all different types of virtual networking events. They would talk, they would share some things on LinkedIn, but everything they were sharing was just kind of about how to do a job search. So I thought this person didn't need a job. And one day he asked if he could call me. And I said, well, yeah, sure, of course. So we were talking and he was sharing with me that he actually really needed a job. He was actually in a situation that he really needed to find employment. And I shared with him that I had no idea because as someone who followed him on LinkedIn and everything I saw that he shared, it didn't convey that he was looking for a job at all. So we talked about streamlining and really coming down to what job are you looking for? And so after talking to him, we came up with some plans and we went through all of this and he started really sharing some specific content related to the types of jobs that he was looking for. And he started reaching out and connecting with individuals strategically on LinkedIn that were in line with the jobs that he was looking for. And one of the things that he was doing was he was sharing recruiters' posts for jobs that they had. He may not have been qualified for the jobs, but he was also sharing the recruiters' posts, which I can see every time you share my post, right? And if you share my post, what does that tell me? You like me, like that's awesome, right? And so the recruiter kept seeing that he was sharing a post and he contacted me over the weekend and told me that he was employed specifically in this. He had no interaction with this recruiter prior to the time that we were talking, when we came up with a plan on doing a very specific job search, starting to share specific information about what it is you do and what makes you passionate about your job. And then connecting strategically and sharing the posts of other people. So he's seen as giving back, which he was, right? He was helping other people who are job searching find out about opportunities. That same recruiter ended up placing him at an awesome opportunity that he is in love with. So LinkedIn is incredibly powerful. The statistic, I don't know if it's true or not, I've never done research, but it's everywhere, says 80% of jobs are from the hidden job market, right? Which means they're not publicly advertised. LinkedIn gives you the ability to set yourself apart in a job search so that people are literally saying, why isn't Cassandra on my team? She's a rock star, right? And that's the power that you have both in career branding and in your job search. So yes. Also, there was another individual that came to a LinkedIn presentation very similar to this. I've never met him. Okay. This is actually, I love his story because it's so amazing to hear the successes, right? So he came to a LinkedIn presentation just like this, showed up one day, didn't know him, asked questions. About a week later, I get an email, I get a message from him through LinkedIn that tells me how great the presentation was. He's gone through, he's updated all of his LinkedIn, he's done all of these things, and he leaves my life. That's it. I'm like, oh, well, that's amazing. You know, he took some takeaways, he implemented, that's what you want, right? About a month ago, so this is like 4 months later, he came to me at the beginning of COVID. And so now he comes back to me randomly 4 to 5 months later. I get an email that says, Suzanne, I just want to thank you so much. You have changed my life. I started implementing and standing out on LinkedIn, and it has made all the difference in the world. Now, again, I've never met this gentleman. He lives in Pinellas County, never met him, just showed up to a virtual conference. Don't even know if he had his camera on, okay? And I send him back a message that says, wow, that's super powerful. Thank you for sharing. Did you get opportunities? And he sends me back a message saying he's gotten so many opportunities that he can't even count them. He is now seen as a thought leader and an industry expert in the sustainable energy, renewable energy industry. He got a job. He's been asked to speak. He's been on podcasts. He's been interviewed, all of that because he started using LinkedIn and that he really was able to see the power of LinkedIn. So Kiana, thank you for asking me. I can actually go on and on about the career successes that people have from truly utilizing LinkedIn. So thank you. Did I miss any questions in the meantime? All right. Well, if you guys think of any questions, because I know it happens to me all the time, right? I'm on these awesome webinars. I get off and I'm like, oh man, why didn't I think of that 15 minutes ago? So don't hesitate to reach out to me. You have my contact information. I will put my email. I put my LinkedIn, which you've probably guessed. I check my LinkedIn and you'll be able to catch me there. So that is my email. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. If you do want the helpful worksheets, reach out to Cassandra. She'll get them for you. And I'm happy to hang out if anybody wants to think of some questions.
Thank you everyone for being here today. Oh, great question. Great question. Any career pivots for nurses? I love that.
Yeah, actually nurses, it's funny. So not currently, like within the last year, I haven't worked with a lot of nurses, but for some time, nurses, I was working with a lot of nurses because the nursing is incredibly hard. It's hard on your body. It's hard on you emotionally. I mean, nurses truly do have the biggest hearts, right? And so I've actually helped quite a few individuals career transition from nursing. And one of the awesome things about nursing is that you have the clinical portion, right? So transitioning to the back office in healthcare is actually not so difficult for nurses. And you have the ability to really start sharing some information and pivot your career into the more business side of healthcare, if that's what you're looking for. Or if you want to add on some tech skills and get into the health IT section, there's so many opportunities. But you can, I mean, LinkedIn really gives you the ability to start sharing resources and curate the brand that you want people to see about you. One of my favorite quotes is Jeff Bezos's, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. But through LinkedIn, you have the ability to curate your brand, right? If you want to be known as a healthcare business expert, start sharing those resources. Start small. You don't have to necessarily be contributing your own content to start off, but as you're reading the articles and you're seeing what's going on, then start to share your opinions. So healthcare IT is an amazing area right now, and nurses can transition so great because a lot of the businesses want individuals with the clinical side, and nurses have that. So hotel managers, hospitality. Yeah, hospitality is hard, JC. That right now, that's hard. But you know what? There's so many areas where you can take that stellar customer service hospitality skills that you have and transition. You're interested in working remotely. There's all kinds of opportunities to work remotely. So there's job boards specifically for remote work. One of my favorite remote work job boards, because she is local to Tampa Bay, is a Facebook group it's a Facebook group. It's got like 100,000 followers, and it's called VEO Opportunities, Virtual Employment Opportunities. And if you just type in VEO, Virtual Employment Opportunities, into your search in Facebook, her group will come up. And her long story short, she's a military wife, got tired of having to make new friends every time her husband got transferred somewhere, having to leave her job. So she figured out how to perfect remote working. And now she runs an entire Facebook group, again, of over 100,000 people, where she vets virtual employment opportunities so that you know they're real and that it's not a scam. Kai Malone is her name. She's amazing. She does all this for free. She doesn't get paid, to my knowledge. She has not monetized this Facebook group, to my knowledge. But you can check that out, JC. All kinds of virtual opportunities at all different levels on that particular site. And there's a lot. Kai, actually, in particular, JC, is a supervisor for the Disney stores and works remote. So that's another opportunity, because that would absolutely pull on your hospitality background and remote working opportunities. So just unique that I thought about that.
Well, thank you. If we don't have any other questions, we're going to go ahead and in today's session give you guys a little bit more of your workday back. But thank you so much for being with us. This is a wonderful program, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you, Suzanne and Cassandra, and thank you, Kiana, for putting this together. It's a wonderful event.
Awesome. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Virtual high fives.
Right. Love it.